Hello, Packers fans, and welcome into PackersNews.com. I'm Kassidy Hill, joined by Ryan Wood, where we have just wrapped up day 2 of Packers minicamp. Ryan, it was a rainy day, supposed to be open to the public, but was not after it had to be moved inside. But it's a payoff because you get to see the guys a little closer up when you're right there next to them. I know that we really got to see a lot of Aaron Rodgers working with the receivers today. What was that like, just to kind of get a glimpse of that relationship as it's building?
Yeah, what's funny is it's closer up in a way. I mean, it's claustrophobic, right? It's
Right.
inside by definition, but it's just always funny how they very strategically place the first team on the opposite side of the field. Like
Exactly.
we're more confined to where we can stand inside the Don Hudson Center. You got to be in this pocket here, whereas on Ray Nitschke Field, you go up and down the field, it's no problem at all. So we're by the doors, by Military Avenue, and we are looking at the other side of the field to where the first team is. And the second team, actually, when they went to split squad, the second team came down by us, but we're looking at the first team. So yeah, it's a different type of way to cover. As far as Aaron Rodgers had that moment with Danny Davis and Samari Toure,
Mhm. Which I think we'll see kind of as we, yeah.
where they, he was going through route adjustments and what he
Mhm.
expects, and very demonstratively with his hands, he knew what to do with his hands. He was
Right.
showing them no, you cut it this way up the field. And it was, I thought, very interesting that Randall Cobb kind of joined that huddle. He was kind of nodding along and following, because he's a conduit of sorts between, and Aaron Rodgers was talking about how he expects Randall Cobb to be a conduit between him and his voice and the young guys in his room, because Randall, who knows Aaron Rodgers better than Randall Cobb. So it was just the four of them right there on the goal line. And it was really good example of this time is important. It's not training camp. It's not real football yet. They're not padded up, but this is an important time for them.
Yeah, as we're kind of seeing here, Rodgers getting a lot of work in with these rookies, but also with Sammy Watkins. And I know that today was, I think, the first time we've gotten to speak to Sammy Watkins since he's joined the Packers. I'm not sure if you were over at that scrum or not.
I was
But
there in scrum.
and here's the moment you were talking about with Rodgers explaining to Samari Torrey what he did wrong, he and Danny Davis. And I actually asked Samari Torrey about this moment afterwards, and he said, it was great. It was just hearing from him what he wants and knowing how to do it, which is really what this time is all about. And asked Aaron Rodgers about it as well. And he said, it just is getting them the basics so that when we get here for training camp, we can hit the ground running. But as we said, also got to see a lot of him with Sammy Watkins today as well. What have you taken from these first couple of days watching Sammy Watkins in a Packers uniform, slimmer than we've seen him in a while as well?
Yeah, I don't know if I've taken much. It's not football yet, so it's kind of tough. Yeah, he looked okay, but I thought the conversation we had with Sammy Watkins, I took a lot from that in the locker room. He said about, he there was a portion of time this offseason he thought his career might be over. He thought that he'd maybe hit that road. He was thinking about what's next with his family. He had stopped working out, and then kind of on a whim, he decided to work out again. And at that time, shortly after, the Packers called. And the next thing he knows, he's signing a contract, and Aaron Rodgers is FaceTiming him. So,
Mm-hmm.
it all kind of escalated very quickly. I thought it was very interesting that Matt LaFleur said today that he doesn't think there's been any drop off in Sammy Watkins' game when healthy since 2017. There's some opportunities. He just hasn't gotten those, in no small part because he hasn't been healthy. And Sammy Watkins talked about how the injury bugs really hit him. And he hasn't had a healthy season the past 4 years. If he can stay healthy, and I asked Sammy Watkins today what he's learned going through the past few seasons about being healthier and taking better care of his body. He basically lives in the cold tub. He stretches all the time now. There's things that he was not doing early in his career that he's doing to better maintain. If he stays healthy, what do we know? There's opportunities here. He's got a chance. So he said that he feels like he's never been in a better situation for his career than to be here. He didn't say this, but I mean, it's kind of goes without saying, a receiver room that is crying out for somebody to rise up and seize the opportunity. And oh, by the way, Aaron Rodgers throwing you the football is pretty
Mm-hmm.
good luxury to have.
Speaking of that receiver room, Callum asked, what's the latest on Lazard? As of right now, it's still just kind of a waiting game, wouldn't you say? And I know Matt LaFleur was asked that as well today and addressed it.
Yeah, I asked Matt LaFleur if there's any resolution or if he's expecting any resolution soon there. And not surprisingly, didn't have much to say. I mean, it's really Brian Gutekunst's forte. But he said he has no reservations about Allen Lazard knowing what to do. I mean, if you got to pick one receiver in that room to miss, Allen Lazard be the guy you're most comfortable missing because he had great rapport with Aaron Rodgers. You really saw that escalate and really ascend late last season. 5 touchdowns down the stretch, ended up with a career high 8. He's always been that kind of. This is what Aaron Rodgers was talking about Allen Lazard yesterday. Always been that kind of dirty job.
Yeah.
The guy that does the grunt work, and he finally got that opportunity. Now he might be the number one receiver. When you look at the depth chart, he's that guy. So if there's one guy that you're okay with missing right now, it's Allen Lazard. Surely he's doing his workouts and staying in shape and getting ready for training camp because by then he will be here.
Yeah. Before we move on to defense, one last question on offense. Mike asked, can you really see Watkins having a career resurgence? And I guess that's what the Packers are banking on. So, Ryan, in your opinion, could he have a career resurgence here with the Packers?
Can we make this like Madden and just turn injuries off so I can answer this question?
Sure.
Is that possible?
It's our game. We make the rules.
We have to be in reality because reality, I have no idea if he's going to stay healthy. He hasn't stayed healthy since 2017. That's the question with Sammy Watkins. When he's healthy, he's been just fine. And he's, what is he, like 29, 30? Maybe, I think he's 29. He's young enough. Now with the injuries, that can accelerate your aging. But, he's young enough. I mean, if he stays healthy, he's clearly got an opportunity. I think he could have a good year here. I don't know that he'll be former 4th overall pick, good, but he can have a solid year here. I just don't know if he's going to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm. Randy asked, will Alexander keep practicing at the minicamp? Now, we should note that there is no minicamp practice tomorrow now. The Packers are going to be doing a team activity, not open to media. So they really just have OTAs next week before they take another break. But I'm glad he brought up Alexander because we need to talk about Jaire for a little bit. Before we do, though, let's actually hear from Jaire.
What did that deal mean to you?
It was special to me because it just shows how much the organization, trusts my ability, and on and off the field.
Were you worried after coming off an injury that it might not happen?
Nah, I don't worry about those things. I kind of, honestly, I just told my agent, just not to bother me with that stuff, to talk to me when it's done. So I found out in 2 days I was up here in Green Bay.
So Douglas said you have to take them all out to eat.
No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. Stokes got everybody. He's still a rookie. He got 3 more games.
How hard was it for you last season to not be able to play for the bulk of it?
It was tough, but I found strength in being here for my teammates. So that was the best part. Just kind of being here for the young guys, helping mentor them.
Ryan, Jaire went on to say he signed his contract in $5 shorts. And so he's really not spending that money. Do what?
From Goodwill.
From Goodwill. So $5 then, that's expensive for a pair of Goodwill shorts. Is it fair to say that this was one of the most important moves that the Packers needed to make this offseason, was ensuring that they bring Jaire back?
Yeah, there was priority 1A, 1B this offseason. That was Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams. But a very close...
Biggest move on defense.
a very close number 3, I guess. Or how's that work? There's 1A and 1B. Is it 2? Or is that 3? We just skip 2? I don't do math.
If it's like a tiebreaker rule, then you would jump to 3. Because 1A and 1B takes care of 2.
So priority 3, and not far behind, was Jaire Alexander. And they do it now. They did not want to repeat a Davante Adams situation last year where they stalled at the beginning and then, you let a guy like that get close to the free agency, he's going to think about free agency. And they needed to avoid repeating that situation. They also, coming off the injury last year, you're going to ask a guy to go play slot after you had a shoulder injury and you missed almost 4 months. it's nice to have that security, that peace of mind financially that, 4 years, 84 million can provide. So this was very important to get it done now. We'll see what happens as a slot. I think it's very interesting that Rasul Douglas was taking almost all the slot snaps on Tuesday. And then with Eric Stokes not here today, you did see Jaire Alexander in the slot. The fourth down in the 2-minute against Aaron Rodgers, the 4th and 5 from the 40. Aaron Rodgers aired it out to Christian Watson down the left side, and Jaire Alexander had a PBU in the end zone from the slot. So you're going to see a committee. Matt LaFleur's talked about that. The other takeaway from Jaire Alexander, though, is his last play was not something that he fondly remembers, but he remembers, and he has not forgotten the missed tackle against Deebo Samuel. And he's played it in mind a lot. He said it fueled him. I asked him, once the scrum kind of departed, I asked what he felt like he should have done differently, what he wished he'd done differently on that play. And he told me, tackle with confidence. At that point, it shoulder had been cleared, but there's a difference between being cleared physically and being mentally ready to play from a confidence standpoint. And he wasn't there yet with that shoulder. And then all of a sudden you're unblocked in the open field against Deebo Samuel. So he said very point blank, it pissed him off. He said that multiple times, and that's how he felt about it. And a pissed off Jaire Alexander coming off a nice contract, that's a scary thing for the NFL.
Those are the sort of moments that can turn a great player into an incredible player. To use that as fuel and to build off of. I know you have a piece about Jaire coming out on PackersNews.com. I believe it may already be up. Tell everybody where they can find that and what they're looking for.
Yeah, be at PackersNews.com. I'll tweet it out later. And he was, him and Sammy Watkins were kind of the two big names we hadn't talked to today. I thought both for varying reasons were very transparent and open with what what they had to say today. I thought we learned some stuff, and that's good for you guys, the fans.
Yeah, exactly. Help be a conduit there. We're going to take 2 final questions as we close out. Both they can just be quick hitters. Callum asked, "Do you think the offense can score 30 points? I'm assuming a game." While Randy asked, "Do you think the defense will get pick sixes?" Given what is on both sides of the ball, how much, I'm going to combine these questions, how much can they complement each other this year? We saw a decent amount of picks today, granted in practice at half speed, but a decent amount of little picks from this defense.
Yeah, Soppy, if you heard this before, but Rasul Douglas took one to the house.
Yeah.
He undercut an Aaron Rodgers ball to the on an out route to the right sideline, and he on. And it was, in my head, it was like, well, we've seen that before.
Right.
It was very.
Who was the other? John Charles. That's who was the other one.
Off a deflection from Chris Barnes. That was against Jordan Love. That was the second in 2 days for Jordan Love. The defense was flying around. Sean Gary had a batted ball against Aaron Rodgers at the line of scrimmage. On paper, we were talking with Tom Silverstein, my colleague, about this earlier. On paper, this defense looks really good. Now, on the field, I have no idea. But on paper, there's not a lot of holes. So, yeah, as far as the offense, that's the work in progress. It's going to be a run-oriented offense. You go Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, the offensive line, Aaron Rodgers with his ball handling on action pass fakes. He's second to none in the league with that. That's going to be a big weapon because it's going to be run to set up the pass. 30 points again. I'll take the under. Not that I'm a gambling man, but I'll take the under.
Not that you're a gambling man, but you're not.
But I'm not a gambling man.
But not a gambling man. And then I'm just going to let you leave them with one final thought. We talked about the offense. We talked about the defense. Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, because you've been around this program in the offseason, whereas this is my first offseason. Feels like we're seeing more special teams in practice than we have in a long time.
It's either that or we're more aware of the special teams.
That's fair, too. It just seems like they start and end practice with special teams, and there's a special teams portion in the middle of practice as well.
Yes, there definitely is. I think the biggest change that I've seen is that in the past off season they'll trot out the kicker and they'll have their field goal kicking portion or their period for like 6 or 7 kicks. It's a marathon session. 8 kicks. It goes on and on and on. We've yet to see more than 2 consecutive kicks They don't let it bleed out and just continue. They're very short with it. And I mean, it makes sense because when you're in the season and you're kicking a field goal, you don't
Right.
you go out for one, maybe two if there's like a penalty or something.
Uh-huh.
But you never kick more than 2 straight field goals. I've never thought about this before, but I mean, on the sideline, I'm watching this. I'm like, huh, that makes sense. So,
And the kicker is all about mindset. So you've got to. That's good to get them in a mindset of okay, you've got one shot to do this.
yeah, that's
So
all.
go out there and be ready.
You don't get a full 8 straight kicks. You don't get that.
Right. We also saw Pat O'Donnell hit the rafters not once but twice. And I Googled it on Wikipedia. That is 90 feet. That's 90 feet at the tip.
Impressive.
It was impressive.
I didn't watch every Pat O'Donnell punt, but I didn't see. There was a couple I saw that scraped. I didn't realize he actually got it a couple twice.
He hit it. He dinged it. That's an incredible. If you're getting it that high, you're getting a really good hang time. Because like it's not about the height. That doesn't matter as much. It's about what is the hang time you're getting with it. So if you're getting it not that high, that's a pretty decent little hang time. And he did it a couple of times. So that'll be fun to watch.
He's treating the Don Hudson Center like the scoreboard at Jerry's World.
Exactly. That's probably about the same height too. Ryan, we're going to let you go. As we said, there is no practice tomorrow, so you probably will not see as much from us, but we will have a new episode of the Green 19 podcast coming for you this weekend. And then we'll be back next week for one last round of OTAs before everyone heads off for the summer. Ryan, thank you as always.
Take care.